Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of the Jug Show. So we're going to go a little bit of not off brand, off product, really. We're going to talk about a particularly different comic that I've been meaning to talk about for quite a while now, and that is the current Miles Morales run. So, Spider-Man Miles Morales by Cody Ziegler has actually been one of the most stellar runs that's been currently coming out of Marvel Comics. And quite frankly, I think it's one of the most underappreciated. Cody Ziegler brings in a positive energy to the character with a lot of sense of action and excitement, and also helps separate the character from Peter Parker. This is more than just another Spider Person. This is more than just another Peter Parker. This is his own character, and Cody is really helping separate him with certain ways, including new characters that both essentially make up Miles' group of friends and enemies. Not only does he have new members of a rogues gallery, he also has new allies that have so far been specific to him. Even continuing the story from the previous Miles run, from Sadruddin Ahmed, of keeping the Miles clone known as Shift, who has now actually been giving a name of it's Jamie or Jaime. It's probably Jamie. I'm just going to say Jamie. Okay, he's given the name of Jamie, which is also progressing his character. We've also recently been introduced to the character Gust, who's been thrusted into the hero community due to the fact that her powers came to her when she went during the time of not outlawed. It was Devil's Reign, and the Kingpin had outlawed heroes. Which brings us to the Rogues Gallery, including Agent Gao, who is a very zealous cop character. And she was very in favor of the Kingpin's law and went nuts when it came to going after some superheroes, given the fact they were now outlawed. This is another rogue that I've actually come to really enjoy and quite frankly hope for more stories of. And Rabble's real name is Raneem Rashad. And she's easily one of the most saddest characters that's actually come to Marvel Comics. And quite frankly, she's a very compelling character. She's somebody that believes that she's been wronged by the world and has actually started blaming Miles, despite the fact that a lot of the things that have gone wrong in her life is more based off the system that we live in. She's highly qualified, highly intelligent, and she unfortunately did not get the same opportunities Miles had, but she worked for it. But the idea of using a lottery to who gets these opportunities in a high-class school is actually what the problem is. Instead of blaming the system, she blames Miles, because not only does Miles get the position, he doesn't appreciate it as much as she desired it. And while this might sound almost petty, Raneem has actually been through a lot, including the loss of her mother and her father now actually having dementia. So with this level of intelligence, with this anger, she's actually become a very compelling character, and you could almost call like a street-level Magneto in a way. Not so much, like, while a villain, she's just steeped in her anger, and she actually has the potential to become a hero. So these are already fascinating characters, including even Miles' new therapist, who was recently revealed to be a Hulk by the name of Powerlift. That was actually a lot of fun in the reveal. The stories that Miles has already gone through up to in the latest 3 years that this run has actually managed to go for, which in of itself is actually a massive accomplishment. He has had many different kinds of stories that have helped build him into who he is now, including the having to pretty much outrun or stay ahead of the anti-superhero laws, so he's had to deal with Agent Gao. He's also had to deal with the Blood Hunt, which ended up with him becoming a vampire and had to fight Blade because it was Blade that actually turned him during the Blood Hunt when he was possessed by Varanki. And he also met the Spider God. Oh my god, I'm blanking. Oh my god. This is a horrible feeling because I really liked him. Hang on a second. Anansi, the spider god Anansi. I feel terrible. I loved Anansi. Oh, I don't deserve to talk about this anymore, but I'm gonna anyway. So he was introduced not only to Anansi, but Anansi is also he's also Anansi's herald. Just like how we now have Storm being connected to Eternity. We have what's the Quasar being connected to Infinity. What was another one that happened also recently? Oh yeah, Black Panther. Black Panther being avatar of Bast because it was Black Panther who not only gave Miles his new suit, but also uh, helped him be cured of vampirism, just like how T'Challa got cured of vampirism. It was a whole wacky story. This is one of the reasons why this book is actually astounding. The Cody Ziglar is not afraid to bring in other characters. He's not afraid to play in the interconnected aspect of Marvel. He brings in a whole lot of characters. He brings in T'Challa, he brings in Blade, he brings in Sasquatch, he brings in. This is where it gets really fun. Brings in Misty Knight, who is now Miles's mentor. She's teaching him how to be a PI, how to be a detective. This has actually been one of the more fun aspects, and it's great seeing Misty, and it's also great seeing Miles interact with other superheroes, and just creating his very own place in the Marvel universe that isn't actually connected to Peter. This is something that's incredible. This is completely his own. And this was also really solidified when, during the run, another Spider-Man run was coming out called the Spectacular Spider-Man, where it was both Miles and Peter together. And you can actually see that the way of thinking of Miles and Peter both just being Spider-Man, it's actually very incorrect. They are both very different people and they just share the name. And they both appreciate that. They really enjoy each other's company. They're not competing over it. They accept the fact they're both incredibly different and also understand things the other might not ever understand, but that doesn't affect their friendship, doesn't affect how they are Spider Man. And it's a very positive thing, especially for that book and for this current Miles Morales run. One of the other positive things I've seen about the current Miles run is how Miles uses the narration actually, no, it's how Cody uses the narration of the writing in the journal as the main narration of Miles Morales instead of, say, a thought bubble. Because the fact is, the reason why Miles is doing that is a therapeutic technique. Using this as a therapeutic technique is very positive, and it really and it's really good to see because of the fact is a lot of writers, when it comes to the idea of therapy, it really just ends up being a one-on-one with a therapist, and instead of talking about possible therapeutic techniques or medications, any of that type of stuff, it usually ends up just being a one-on-one emotional discussion, and that's more to just break down the character. The actual use of therapy isn't to show how therapy can actually help a person. They're just using it to make the character emotional. But Ziegler is actually using it as to show ways of therapy. He has had Miles use breathing techniques. He's had Miles use the journaling. He hasn't put him on medication, and quite frankly, he probably doesn't need medication. He just needs to have his coping mechanisms, and that's very good and very positive to see. And you can tell that Ziegler is really in tune. He's very, what's the word I'm thinking of here? he's trying to personify Miles, because not only is Miles going through like superhero stuff, and the reason why he's using therapeutic techniques is also because he's been going through some really nasty stuff. Even just in last run, he was almost killed God knows how many times. He went through what he went through with the Assessor, and my God, Saladin Ahmed. That was one of the most harrowing comics I ever read, about Miles just continuously being tortured. Miles goes through a lot of things at the start of this run. He's attacked. His family's attacked. Like literally, like Rabble attacks his entire life. It attacks his family. It attacks his new sister, almost killing Miles, which triggered Miles. And they used the idea of his spider sense going off constantly as a form to show stress and anxiety for Miles. And I thought that was absolutely brilliant, because it was a state of constant. He was in constant terror. And I think one of the reasons why Cody is actually trying to tell that type of story, he's probably trying to also put in the idea of how it's not easy in America to be a young black man, and how Miles and many young black men in America probably have that constant state of fear and anxiety, because due to racism of in their everyday life, maybe being attacked by horrible racists on the street, maybe meeting a racist cop that would actually probably shoot them then rather than when you all know the situation, sadly. So putting this in is really helping personify and make Miles seem more real, especially with his more his growing popularity. He was already popular before the games and all that. He really helped people see themselves in a new Spider character. And that was a very positive thing. Miles has always been a very positive character in Marvel. People will, like, the annoying critics will always say he's just a black Spider-Man, but that is not true. Miles is 100% his own character. He has his own culture. He even has his own. He's got his friends. He's got ones that's his own Rose Gallery. He's got his own allies. He's got the champions. Always being a close friend of Kamala Khan. Why am I blanking on names tonight? Wow. I I don't know. Maybe I'm ready for bed. Aren't we all? But Ziegler is doing an amazing job when it comes to Miles. Really help solidifying who Miles is, creating new relationships, working on his current relationships with between Miles and his girlfriend Tiana Toombs, who's also known as Starling. And it's always great to see that. We're seeing very humans. This is the thing about Cody Ziegler that I haven't mentioned yet. Cody is very good at using the not absurdity, but actually no, you know what? The absurdity of superhero comics. The whole ideas of we're going into space, or we're going into this alternate dimension, or what Miles has done recently. Well, not recently, at the start of this run, used his venom to make a sword because it looks cool. But he actually also manages to take that and blend it perfectly with a grounded storytelling that really makes these characters feel human. This is one of the reasons I want to talk about this book, because it's a fantastic book. It's a human book. This is a book you will see yourself in. This is a book where you will connect with these characters. And it's just so good to see. It takes very real world scenarios and moments and puts them in this book. But then it also takes these action packed scenes filled with heroes fighting villains, all this ridiculousness of fighting Carnage, of fighting Scorpion and all these other villains that are used by Agent Gao, this new speedster. And it's just fantastic all to see. This is an amazing book. It's easily not only the best Spider book coming out, but it's easily one of the top Marvel books that is coming out. So moving on from the actual book in general, I wanted to talk about the actual recent release. So we're just coming off an arc that was, like I said, a little in the ridiculousness, but still grounded in very human storytelling, where we had Miles in the middle of a war of gods. See, ridiculousness, because he was fighting for Anansi alongside Shift, Gust, and Powerlift, taking on Ares, because Ares is a jerk, and he also used the story of Athena and Arachne, of how Athena turned Arachne into a spider. This was just clever. I know the story of Arachne, a weaver that claimed that she could weave better than Athena, and it's disputed whether or not she actually did, but Athena turned her into a spider out of, well, God's pettiness, really. And it led to a whole thing. So that was a lot of fun. Showed what Miles can do, how he thinks. It showed his connection to these new characters. And it was just a lot of fun. It was just the ridiculousness of it. And you just love to see it. And so we're moving on to this new one, this new arc. And I don't want to, well, actually, no, we are, because she's in, but we're kind of going to a classic Spider-Man type of deal. A Spider-Man and their personal thief. Like how Peter has Black Cat, we are now introducing new characters. One named Inari, I believe it's Inari, like we have Inari, and yes, Inari and White Cat. These are going to be Peter's thieves, like how Felicia Hart. No, these are Miles's thieves, while Felicia Hardy was Peter's. And one of the reasons I want to talk about this, we'll get to it actually. We'll get to that in a minute. So we're going for a bit of a mystical theme here, using what looks like Japanese folklore, given the fact that Inari or Oinari is a god, or what's known in Japan, a kami, of, amongst other things, of foxes. And the ones that are used by Inari are actually called kitsune. I'm not 100% well versed on the actual folklore and mythology of the Japanese pantheon, really, but that's what we're going. That's what we're going for here. We're using a Japanese thing. And it doesn't really surprise me, because reading the whole run, you can actually tell that Cody Ziegler really likes anime and manga. So it wouldn't surprise me if he really delved deep into Japanese storytelling to help actually build up some of these characters. He straight up references so many different famous anime moments. It's hilarious and it's fun just to point it out. It's like, oh, I know that moment. I got the, or classic Captain America. I got that reference. So they're just thieves. So far they haven't hurt anybody, but they are just stealing. And we're just going, and it's and Peter, not Peter, oh shit. And Miles. And Miles, he's just enjoying his day. He's just hanging with his friends when he's getting called for Misty Knight, and he's got an intern for her again. And apparently he's not even getting paid for it. I'm going to give you guys a bit of a life lesson. If you're just getting started out in a business, in your chosen career and all that kind of stuff, and especially in the creative industry, don't work for free. Don't work for the experience, okay? Because for starters, your experience is not going to be pleasant. You're not going to make good things that are going to impress people, so you might as well get paid for it, okay? Yell at them until you get paid, because you deserve to get fucking paid. Right? Don't work for free. That's a big scam. It's bad enough we got to struggle to actually get a bloody job. Just don't do it. They want your work, you get paid for it. Working for experience is the biggest scam on this planet. So, he's using his new suit and he's going to go meet his boss. And so, they need to track down Inari and White Cat. It's very simple, straightforward book, but there's nothing wrong with it. Because I think this is also a new arc. This store has been on there for a little while. It's the start of the new arc of Luigi Zagaria, the artist for the current book, and he's doing a bloody beautiful job. These are actually stellar images. So it's just really starting off. It's just a brand new arc. We're just working off this, and we're just having our intro fight. This is how they're sizing each other up. This is when they're learning what these guys are doing. This is just the fun. This is just Cody having fun. This is kind of like what you're after when you want to read a comic book. These moments, like, you're taking in the information, but you're also just chilling. You're relaxing. You're just enjoying what's happening. You're enjoying the cool images. You're enjoying the action. You're enjoying the banter. You're just having some fun. And this is what we're getting. We're having some fun. We got a giant three-tailed fox here. We got White Cat slashing. We got them having trouble with Miles because he's got his spider sense. It's always been tricky taking on a spider person. They're always bloody tricky. So we keep going with the fight. It's very simple. It's really just that simple. They get away with the cash because and even though Misty tries to step in, but they get away. And of course, they get away. They take the cash. They take the jewels they stole. And of course, Misty's not happy about that. But here's where it actually gets interesting for me. This is where I get a little hopeful. This is where I get a little theorizing. And they're talking about who these guys could be working for, because they have to be like that's the thing with thieves. They got to be working for somebody. They got to have a seller. They got to have somebody who hired them to pay for it, or they got to have somebody they already plan to sell the item to. This is where I get really theorizing, because they can't figure out who it is. They don't know who it could possibly be. And especially with Gang War, that whole thing that happened in the Spider-Man books, it could be one of many different kinds of powerful crime lords, because there's been a massive overhaul of all of the old guard. There's now new bad guys in charge. It's really chaotic, so they have no idea who it could be. And here's where what I'm hoping. Especially given the fact that Felicia has been revealed, that she's going to help out now. She's going to help Miles. She's going to help Misty try and track these guys down. That's why I'm also getting a bit theorizing that it's possible that it's going to be the Thieves Guild and Odessa Drake. Odessa Drake is one of my absolute favorite villains, and somebody I've actually enjoyed seeing many, many, many times. She's cool. She's charismatic. She's a very fun character to read, and she's just a fun character to actually see interacting with heroes. I've been wanting her to make a comeback for a while now, because she hasn't been seen really since I think it was sometime in a Gambit book, or since Jed McKay's Black Cat books. The leader of the Thieves Guild, and a person that actually managed to create the plan that stole critical items from pretty much every superhero based in New York, including Iron Man armors, Miss Marvel's backpack, Ghost Rider's car, the Fantastic car. I think they even kidnapped Tippy Toe from Squirrel Girl. That one's just a felony. And as Felicia pointed out, they stole Tiger's bikini. So the fact that these two of White Cat and Inari could actually be working for the Thieves Guild, that actually makes a lot of sense. And hopefully it'll bring back Odessa Drake, and Cody Ziegler can bring in his natural flair of writing characters, and we can get an amazing interpretation of Odessa Drake. So, wrapping up, it is a phenomenal book, and if you're not reading it, you really should catch up. The artwork is beautifully done. It's incredibly dynamic, and it's perfect for superhero comics. Being able to balance the dynamic movements of characters, as well as with how much work actually goes into making a comic, has always been a very hard thing to do. And it's just been perfectly done in every issue for the past 3 years. That's how long this comic's been going for, and that in itself is a testament to its quality. Books struggle just to get past 12 these days. So the fact that Cody is going and going and going, and he doesn't look like he's going to be stopping anytime soon, especially with all these amazing characters, all these new relationships for Miles, and it's just beautiful to see, and I hope we see more of it. I'm looking forward to this current run. I'm hoping that it is Odessa as our main villain, because she would be absolutely perfect for Cody. And I'm really looking forward to what it could be. So, I really hope you guys enjoy. If you're reading it, I hope you're enjoying this book as much as I am, and I hope you're also having a good time here talking comics. I'll see you guys later.